From supply chain disruptions to bold new innovations, the transportation and logistics world is heating up. Join top industry minds as they tackle M&A and reveal what's steering the future.
All right, we are back with another special edition of The Hot Seat, a little heat in the street with my friend Dan Cook, Principal and Transportation Practice Leader at the TrueNorth Companies. Dan, welcome to The Hot Seat.
Spencer, it's a scary but welcome opportunity to be here today.
Well, I have no doubt that you can take the heat, sir. So many things that I'm interested in us discussing right now, but just for a little context, tell our audience what you've been doing, what you've been working on at TrueNorth.
Well, we are so invested in the transportation industry that we kind of our results mirror the industries, and so we're doing more with less. We're working harder, trying to be more creative, because as transportation industry goes through this tumultuous and challenging period, so do their industry partners. And so with, the largest portion really of our business being in transportation, we're having to innovate, get more efficient, get more creative. And really we've invested where our investments are taking place are in fractional resources. Our clients are telling us we can't afford to have full-time whatever it is in our business today because we're having to compress our operating costs. That does create an opportunity for us to have that in our business and give just the portion that's needed to that motor carrier in real time. And that's been a real growth area for us.
So tangibly, what would that support look like?
It could be compliance support.
Okay.
It could be driver coaching.
Yeah.
It could be monitoring telematics data and running corrective action within the fleet. It could be deploying LMS platforms. It could be a broad range of human resource advisory and compliance consulting services that we've built this very robust workforce solutions team that is helping fleets keep and grow driver capacity. So it's funny. It's gone into areas that I didn't see our business being in just 5-6 years ago. And I think it has staying power as the freight market comes back.
No, it definitely sounds like it's, listening to what the needs are and trying to, activate around that for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned, here we are. We're in San Diego again, American Trucking Association. There's emerging technology. There's vendors everywhere. I always feel like the insurance solution providers are multiple steps ahead as it relates to technology. Like, what are some of the innovations that you guys are seeing as it relates to, automation, artificial intelligence? What are some of the things that you guys are doing that are innovating across the industry?
Well, the insurance industry solution providers are becoming heavily, whether you see it or not, technology providers.
Yeah.
They're data businesses. There's not an insurance company today that we work with that isn't buying large dispersion data sources. Information from telematics on a broad swath, information on weather, information related to highway and road conditions. If your truck knows something, your insurance company may know that as well. Maybe it's not identified specifically about your fleet, but in the aggregate, every insurance company is trying to underwrite better. There's all this information that's available in the marketplace. And quite honestly, there's a lot of it available to TrueNorth.
Yeah.
Sophisticated brokers are doing the same thing. We're integrating with many dispersion data sources, and we're integrating with the TMS platforms of our motor carrier clients. And so we're bringing in operational data, financial data, risk-based data, claims data relative to that fleet and various benchmarking data sets in order to be able to better manage and price and reduce the cost of risk. And so it's this convergence with technology is it's not always transparent, but it's very, very real.
Yeah. And it's exciting. I think, like, to your point, it helps ultimately bring more value to the customer, and hopefully reduce some of the prices on the premiums. And
well, at a time when we all have to do more with less, it allows us to focus on the vital few activities that achieve an organizational objective for the motor carrier. Maybe they're trying to become more efficient. Maybe they're trying to be more resilient against liability claims. Maybe they're trying to reduce cost. It allows us to see what are the key things we need to drill our limits. Because the reality is we have a limited amount of resources to give to any one client as well.
Right.
So we want to give them the right things. And this allows us to reveal what that is.
I like that. So we were talking offline about how the excess marketplace has evolved over the last 12, 18 months. Can you expand on that a little bit? Like what's changing and why is it significant?
I'd rather not talk about this because it's not a good story. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, what we've seen is capacity continues to shrink. Now, I will tell you, one broker that we access Lloyd's of London with, for instance, came here to this meeting and brought 8 different underwriters from different facilities to MCE this year. That has never happened before.
Wow.
So that's telling you that there is a price now on risk that capital is seeking. And there's a real interest in Bermuda and in London and in other places to see if they can provide some relief perhaps in the excess space. But materially today, the insurance industry and all risk pools, I don't care if you're captive or insurance company or what you are, you're trying to de-risk your balance sheet from shock loss. So where an insurance company might have provided $5 million of excess on any particular client, today they might only be willing to provide $2 million. And so you're seeing a lot more risk. It's a lot harder to fill out an excess tower today. And when you're filling out that tower, odds are good if you're buying anything above 10 million in limits that you are taking risk on the large loss now. Instead of just your deductible, the working layer risk that we're used to trucking companies taking, now they're taking quota shares or they're taking layers in the excess tower where they're taking risks to the balance sheet both vertically and horizontally. And so it's not uncommon for the mega fleets to have tens of millions of dollars of what I would call an off-balance sheet liability for a catastrophic claim in their excess tower, where 5 years ago, effectively, 7 at the most, you were insuring all that risk away.
Yeah.
And it's just not practical to do that today. And in many instances, it's not even possible.
Yeah, I think that's the issue right there. Kind of frightening. But there are some positive things. Obviously, where our worlds intersect, primarily on the M&A side, and anywhere I can get you involved on the diligence side to help folks navigate and to acquire well, I'm always trying to do that. But tell us, what are you seeing evolving in terms of M&A diligence, specifically around risk and insurance?
Well, I appreciate, first of all, you do engage us, and we've done a bunch of fun, I think, successful projects together. One of the things I've observed is, do you guys take that much more seriously and proactively than I think, investment bankers and transaction, brokers did in the past? You understand fundamentally how important that is before you're putting paper in the market, right? You're already going through your team's doing some internal diligence that's probably more sophisticated than it was 4 or 5 years ago, right? And that is the trend, whether it's your work or whether it's our work. Out of necessity, people are looking much deeper into the targets, operations, experience. Are there off-balance sheet liabilities? Are there things that, the motor carriers do a good job of vetting each other. Can we integrate the technology? Can we integrate the culture? Right. But the review that we're now having to do on the driver population, the customer contracts, the cyber liability issues, the considerations for how to keep that leadership team intact and maintain that core goal, that's elevated, right? The other thing is we ended up in a period here where there was this huge value gap between buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
We had all-time record high values, and all of a sudden they weren't. And it was really hard to get a meeting of minds.
Right.
Today, I think there's more of an appreciation on both sides. I mean, value obviously isn't where any of us want it today. A willing buyer is willing to pay full value. It's just the value isn't where anybody wants it today.
Yeah, with the exception of, I think that specialized high performing companies.
Exactly. And we might be on the cusp.
Yeah,
some people paying for future value. There's some strategic value.
Yeah, that's not far away.
Yeah. So we can both feel it a little bit, but people still have to buy. There's not a lot of organic growth to be had, so buyers have to buy. And sellers do hit life cycle events that they've kind of put off now for a while. And so you're starting to see sellers through both a recognition of what the market value is today and changes in their life. I mean, the sellers get ready to retire.
Yeah.
They lose key team members. They run out of working capital. There's any variety of, and so we're seeing people get more aligned and more creative in how to facilitate some of that equity transition.
Yeah. And obviously you guys do a tremendous job of helping kind of round that out and see some things that even we don't see. Like you see, having you at the table is a tremendous asset.
Well, we value getting in early.
Yeah.
We aren't as expensive as the guys doing the quality of earnings or the legal review or, it is what it is. And so why not assess the risk position right on the front end early in the process to determine if you want to invest in all the rest of the diligence. And we've got a lot more clients doing that.
And I think what, my take on this is that I think that the people that do this well, they're worried about avoiding unforced errors, but it truly is a direct correlation to optimizing the deal on the other side in terms of a smoother integration, accelerating the impact of the desired results of the acquisition itself. And so when you have that data and you have those assurances pre-transaction, during transaction, post-transaction, you're just going to be much more effective.
No one wants surprises.
Yeah.
And there's generally going to be some sort of earn out or trailing, revenue to the seller. You might as well get it out on the table and address those things to make sure it increases the likelihood. A good transaction increases the likelihood that the seller receives the full value they bargained for.
Well, I love it, sir. Thank you so much for all that you do for our industry, being a good friend too. That's going to do it for us in the hot seat. We will see you next time.
Take care.